And then... whoa! Download it! Greetings, nerds, geeks, and gamers of the third kind. Nate the Nerdarch here, from Nerdarchy, for Nerds by Nerds. When we left off, I was getting downloaded into a sarcophagus, and hopefully my mind is already good with Tides of Numenera, and everything will be alright. Probably not, but we'll see. Indigo waves rise in the wake of the huge marteling whale, bearing down on Segu cliffs. Its flank blocks out the sun. Its shadow sweeps over your meagered howl and a whole swath of sea. From high up on the beast's back, a lookout leans down. "Plague!" he cries, in a voice that seems too faint, even considering the distance. His warning is unnecessary. The yellow jack flag flapping from the mast can be seen all the way from the city. As the lookout stares directly at your dhow, he cocks his head quizzically and rubs his eyes, plainly confused to see no one in the boat. The light bender on your belt does its work well, while its charges last. After a moment, the man wanders off. Snug around your neck, a steel collar trembles, and a voice whispers in your head, "Hurry. Our seaward batteries can turn the whale to mist if they must. Better to save our fire for a darker day." After a moment, the collar buzzes again, and the voice adds, "Eliminating contagion is doctor's work, and no doctor would use a saw when its scalpel will do. Go now, cut what you must, and make sure that the sickness does not reach our city." Finally, the voice says, "And don't worry, your body can't fall prey to their disease." Well, that's comforting. The collar goes still. The whale's leathery side looms above you like a living cliff. Somewhere up there are the men and women carrying death towards our home. Let's see what kind of gear I've got here. The tools of your trade are housed in a locker beneath the thwart. Hooked climbing claws, your wind slice blade, and a concussive crystal pulsing with explosive power. You quickly secure them. Claws on your hand, sword at your side, crystal on your belt. Beside them in the locker is a small waterproof ledger, which is better left there. There's also a harpoon of azure steel, sunk deep in the whale's flesh and tied to the dhow by a sturdy cable. It will be hard to pull free, and in any case, it will keep your boat tied to the beast. Let's read that ledger. Judging it too long to read in its entirety, you open to a page at random. In a meticulous hand there is a date, and below it, 3 for the greater good. You flip to another page, and it is similarly no more than a date and an entry that is largely the same. 1 for the greater good, 1 of necessity. As you skim, only the dates and numbers change. Any contemplation is cut short by the shudder from your collar and a sharp voice in your mind. Do not tarry. I want to search for more stuff. Oh, okay, there's nothing, and the collar around your neck is buzzing insistently. Yeah, You sink the climbing claws into the whale's tough hide, and leaving a bloody trail behind you, quickly climb your way up. As you ascend, the steady lapping of the waves fades, and the wind grows, but there come no sounds of the living or dying village built upon the martelling's back. Finally, you crest the whale's flank and pull yourself over the top. Silence, like a miasma, hangs over the empty driftwood shacks. Bits of bone, sheets of synth, crude abandoned tools. These are the only signs that people once thrived in this unusual home. The lookout has left no tracks, and in the moments you spend scanning the narrow, trash-strewn street, no one else emerges. Beyond this bleak emptiness, 2 things arise. Nearby, a kind of pavilion, or howdah, built atop the whale's head, and in the distance, a huge stone stern castle at the whale's rear. A beam of light streams from the stern castle to the howdah, encasing the latter in an iridescent bubble, some sort of shield. By the look of it, there's nothing else of note. You clamber atop a rickety roof, mindful to spread your weight evenly across the pockmarked synth. Even still, it flexes ominously beneath you. From on high, most of what you see is the same, a warren of winding, empty streets flanked by filthy hovels, all silent and lifeless. But then a flicker of motion catches your eye. Half hidden behind a mound of garbage, a small crowd seems to have circled a woman. You cannot make out exactly what transpires, but you can plot a path through the village to reach the crowd, or to avoid it en route to the stern castle. After a sharp turn, you slip into a square that is half smothered by the stench of what seems a heap of garbage. Without a shudder, you see it is in fact a mound of rotting bodies. Cornered by the corpse pile and a rusting sheet metal shanty, a woman guards a few canned goods against a crowd of lean-faced men and women. Their gestures might seem mere speechless beseeching were it not for the woman's torn flesh and one man's bloody nails. She hoarsely warns them off, vowing to die fighting, and die she surely will, though these half-starved foes would pose little threat to a trained warrior like you. Though you are nearly close enough to touch them, the light bender hides you from sight. I think I'm going to toss that concussive crystal into the crowd and get rid of us. The blast blinds, deafens, and destroys. When your senses return, nothing remains of the mute men and women but flesh and blood splattered on the ground. Their victim too is gone, having fled in the confusion. One of the hovels is now rubble. The explosion opened a way straight to the stern castle, where a far larger mob has gathered. They are unmoved by the violence you've wrought and silently pound upon the gates with crude tools or just their fists. More file in behind you, forcing you forward, foreclosing the retreat. The Lightbender's power peters out, and as you shimmer into view, some of the mob glance your way. You're in no immediate danger, but fighting this many would be no mean feat. As the mob spots you ascending, they fall upon you with the proverbial senseless desperation of the destitute. Sharp-nailed hands clutch at your limbs, cudgels batter your body. But your climbing claws have a good grip, and your arms and legs are strong, stronger than most anyone's and stronger than those of these sick folk by a wild measure. Eventually you work your way out of their reach, safe if not unscathed. Above you shimmers the beam of energy, fueling the Heldo's distant force field. Below you faces contort in voiceless rage. You give both sights but the quickest glance before swinging your way through an open window. You land deftly in the great hall. The stern castle defenders are a few dozen men and women armed with little more than spears and marlin pikes. One of them has a few healing ciphers, and another wears a richly dyed robe adorned with glitter gar scales. No doubt she is the leader. The hall holds little else of interest save a large Numenera that streams energy out through a window, feeding the force field at the whale's head. The defender's leader addresses you, her voice oddly accented. "Welcome to Folkhaven, emissary," she says gently. "I speak for the folk. We must dock in your city. We have desperate need of healing, as you saw when you faced the unspeakables. We beg your aid in these dark days." I think I'm going to tell them that I want to help your people, but you gotta turn the whale away. The speaker is for a moment speechless. The defender's eyes are all turned upon her, and a look of horror and nausea blanches her face. Then with visible effort she composes herself. "You have spoken and I have heard." She lowers herself to her knees. "But I again implore you and your far-famed city to aid us in our hour of need. The lives of the folk, the fate of the haven turns upon your word." The hall finds silent, waiting your reply. It's not my decision, but alright, if I could save your village, I would. But I'm not going to put my people in danger. The speaker pushes herself to her feet and brushes off her knees. "I do not fault you, those who speak for your city. We have done the same here to safeguard the unaffected within these walls. But we cannot change our course from here." She points to the window through which the Numenera sends its energy. "The whale singer guides the whale from upon its head, and he must be shielded against plague. Were he to lose his voice, there would be no song to steer us." A grim sort of smile hardens on her face. "But there is a way, you see. A gift has come to us, a means by which the healers can concoct an inoculation against a quiet death. It comes at a price, one your city will make us pay." She points to a boy huddled nearby and calls him over. "The gift," she says, "the only one to fall sick and silent, yet fend off madness." She strokes his hair. "From the fluid in his spine, the healer will decant a guard against death." She gestures for him to sit. "Not a cure, and enough for at most 20 inoculations." "You count more than that in the hall." "From 20, the folk can grow again, as we did after the sinking." She smiled at the boy. "The gift will not refuse or cry out. He will endure his death in silence." She takes your hand. "We will lower the shield, and you will bring the inoculation to the whale singer. The whale will turn, and we will survive." Yeah, I'm not thinking that's going to happen. Alright, what if the procedure fails? No law, yeah. What if the procedure fails? We'll go with that one first. Let's see where that leads us. The speaker shakes her head. "We are no fools, stranger, and long have we pondered our few choices. Even if the gift survives, the folk shall die, for he cannot speak the word and keep our ways alive." She nods to the surgeon. "And the healer knows his craft and his tools. He has said this will not fail, and I speak his words again with confidence." No law and no decent person would permit such a crime against a child. The speaker is unfazed by your hard words. "The law is what I speak, the folk's will given voice. I say what must be said, though none may wish to hear it. The gift is one, and the folk are many, and that is the way of it." Then perhaps, reading something on your face, the speaker places a hand on the child's shoulder. "I carried this boy in my body and nursed him by my breast. You do not give his life more weight than I do, but you give the folk much less." She strokes his hair, and he gazes up at her silently. "Your canons have left us no other way." Alright, I think I'm done with these people. There must be some other way. For a few moments, the speaker says nothing, and when she answers, her voice is composed. "You recognize, I trust, that I will not likely speak of killing a child if there is another way." The surgeon nods and gestures you towards him. "I decided to get healed." "Sit, please," he says, pointing to a wooden chair. As you rest for a moment, he begins his work with his ciphers. As a far from simple relics, perhaps, of some more prosperous time, the care you receive is quick but effective, and at least some of your wounds are gone. "I'll try the other way next time." Your mission was to cut, and so you cut. The speaker's throat first, and not a word more did she say. The rest of the folk are first so stunned they do nothing. You do not hesitate to cut them down too. After a short span, they rally themselves into action. It is futile. No doubt they could have killed the mute boy, but they cannot kill you. A few glancing blows and shallow nicks come your way, but in the end, the blood that soaks the stern castle floor is not yours. Through it all, the gift sits, docile. There is no cause to kill him. He watches as you smash the key parts of the Numenera. The hall falls dark as the energy goes out, but the boy watches you still. I'm going to take him with me. The collar around your neck hums and a voice warns. Make haste, the whale has entered the bay. You heed its command. As you weave through the narrow paths and alleys, a faint sound stirs in the silence. The shuffle of footsteps, the huffing of heavy breaths. With a watchful eye and a quiet tread, you advance, keeping out of sight as best you can. Soon they are before you, 6 or 7 unspeakables, men and women both, making their starving, reaving way through the village and unknowingly barring your advance. Modest as their weapons may be, it will be folly to try and fight them. Well, I'll be follyful. Alright. Limbs wary, you charge the unspeakables, hacking and hewing more like a butcher than a surgeon. It has been a long day, still it is not yet time for the end. The mutes are not fighters, and desperation can be a weakness as much as a strength. One by one you lay them low, their wordless wanting is over, and your path is clear. Before any more unspeakables can gather, you hurry on your way. The Howdoo's force field has fallen. Within the pavilion stands a stocky man, barrel-chested and ruddy. The whale singer. He seems equal parts wary, bewildered, and battle-ready. Behind him, a wide-mouthed tubes rise up from the whale's hide, and past them is a flat expanse of the whale's brow. Not so far beyond are the cliffs, the cannons, and the city. The whale singer's voice booms when he speaks, his words accented like the speaker's. I do not know you, stranger, and I tremble at the way you have come. What do you want? Glancing at the boy half hidden behind you, he adds, it gives me no comfort to see the speaker's son at your side. Well, the cannons directly ahead of us will destroy the whale unless you change its course, so change its course! The whale singer shakes his head in sadness, not stubbornness. The speaker told me to guide our haven to the city, where we may find a cure to the quiet death. I cannot turn from this path and leave the folk without succor. My duty is to our people. He glances at your sword and adds, whatever the price I may personally pay, whatever price the others have paid already. Man. You can't bring the plague here. This isn't going to work out. Of course, the speaker wanted to do all these bad things. This is not the way it should go. The whale singer looked at the child, then sighs. When I was a young, the corsairs sought to seek Folkhaven. Their trebicles could not keep pace with the whale at all its speed, so they devised a way to stop us. Tiny leather rafts, each with a child hostage, scattered like mines in the sea before us. He runs his hand along the tubes beside him. The whale singer then was a dutiful man, and unfazed by the ploy, plowed through the corsairs' trap. We left them far behind us. With a sad smile for the child, he says, the speaker, too, is dutiful, and neither she nor I will swerve. He seems to steel himself against an attack he is sure will come, so do what you must. Don't be a fool. This is absolutely ridiculous. Barely are the words out of your mouth when he's upon you, a dagger in hand, backed up by bull strength. You whip loose your wind-slice blade, but before you can cut him down, the whale singer bowls you over. Luck, desperation, brute force, whatever the cause, the blade slips in and your blood flows out. As it pulls on the whale's hide, you look one last time at the sea ahead, at the rising cliffs, at the cannons glittering in the sun. You die knowing that even if you have failed, the whale and the plague it bears on its back will not reach Sogo Cliffs. Well, great. Now everyone lost a giant game of chicken. Congratulations, idiots. And I'm dead. Did I die? A kaleidoscope of colors drag you back from the welter of memories. That memory was more powerful than the others, but it has faded. Your personality reasserts itself, and you stand in the strange laboratory once more. The specter beams at you as you approach.
That was great! Did you see that? Scattered them! It was. That's one of the things attuning does. The tides keep you alive. Maybe you can't control them all the time, but they can change things around you. I wouldn't be surprised if it worked that way in the real world, too. The tank? I don't know. All I saw was you put your hand on it and then blast those sorrow fragments to the stars. But it's your mind, right? It was probably some mental connection, like the creatures in those tanks.
That memory I had felt a lot more real than what happened with the creatures.
First, you need to get back to your body. When you wiped out those sorrow fragments, a tear opened in space just over there. Fair bet that it's your way back. Second, you need to find something called a resonance chamber. I don't know everything about it, but I remember what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to stop the sorrow once and for all. It'll look a lot like the tank you used to attune yourself, a glass sarcophagus, except in the real world, it's inside a crystal dome somewhere with 5 mechanical arms around it and a metal ring set in the floor. I'm sure you can't miss it. Use it like you used this one, and we should be fine. Well, it means you're alive, for one thing, so that's a bonus. The tides keep your body together, sucking energy in so you can heal. You can push that energy out, too, like you did with the sorrow fragments just now. There's 5 tides. Your nature, like your choices with the creatures, determines which ones you're most attuned to. Like, you're most attuned to indigo and gold. So, justice and compassion, community and sacrifice, empathy and the greater good. With traits like that, someone could change the world for the better.
Oh, okay.
But that's just how you are right now. The tides are always moving, and you can change. I mean, you're going to be who you're going to be, right?
I can change.
Hold on. You ought to know what you're running from first. I don't remember much. Hells, maybe you know more than me, but the sorrow is what threw you to the ground and nearly killed you. It's still after us. It'll always be after us. Unless you can stop it. Hopefully that resonance chamber I told you about will do it. If not, let's just assume the chamber will do the trick, all right? It's less frightening that way. We can make other plans if it doesn't. Good luck.
Okay. Where to? Where's this little rift? Oh! Rift. Right in front of me. Okay. Type selection has not been implemented for the betas. Okay. Glaive is elite warrior. The Nano seeks to understand the relics of the past. The Jack is a bit of both, a capable fighter who uses prior world technology to his advantage. I think I want to be a Nano, but it would be nice to be using both. Let's be a Nano. Okay, I'm ready to return to my body. Fantastic. Allocate points to any of your pools. I feel like I should have a might that doesn't stink. I am a tier 1. Alright. Oh, what else do I got here? Oh, select a skill. Sure. I guess I'm specializing because I took it twice. Choose ability to learn or improve. Okay. Double all damage of the chosen type. Makes affected area targets vulnerable to 1 damage. Okay. Unleash a blast of concussive energy. Oh, that would be really useful. I'm gonna have to take that. And Onslaught. I want to do some blast. Unlock Tidal Surge. Whoa, okay. Lots of damage. Okay. Looks good. I am combat ready. And I need a weapon. So I'm not totally combat ready. Alright. Let's go. Oh, okay. I don't want to change the character class, but I just want to click on this to check. Oh, I probably shouldn't have clicked on this. Whoops. Alright. Onslaught. Yeah, okay. Alright. Change character description. You are careful and meticulous, always aware of your surroundings. Which one did I have? No. Yeah, we're gonna go with that. It's nice that you can alter it even if you pick different stories there. Okay, there's the crystal bed with things I don't want to have touch me. Well, it's getting late. That's gonna have to be it for right now. Let me know what you think in the comments below. While you're at it, if you liked the episode, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, stay nerdy.